I've just started to get into recording again. I mean, to me, recording, because I do it at home now, I had to learn a whole different world.
Going back to the early days of A Flock of Seagulls, and you probably have a zillion of these kind of stories, but what would have been the craziest situation, maybe at a live show or something like that, the most bizarre thing that happened?
Oh, yeah, there is a million. One of the very early ones we were playing a show with Altered Images.
Oh, sure.
And I think it was like 81 or something like that. And the place was a college, I believe. They'd built a stage out of almost something like table tennis tables. And
very sturdy.
We weren't on, but we were very sturdy. We were we were watching Altered Images from the side, and all of a sudden the stage split in two. And what had happened was some punks, real punks,
right,
with their, spiky hair and stuff, had climbed underneath and unstrapped it all and tore it apart from underneath. And the girl singer, I can't remember her name now.
Oh, Claire Grogan.
Yeah, she went crashing right through the middle of the stage.
Oh, no.
So, that was a complete havoc after that, you know what I mean?
And you had to go on later?
Well, yeah, they had to, rebuild the stage and go on. And then there were punks fighting with the bands because they weren't punk bands. It was just bizarre. It was like there was all these punks at the show, but none of us were punk bands. So it's like, what the hell are you doing here? But they just wanted to beat up on what was taken away from their punk bands, I guess,
Right.
So that turned into a night of fighting and then a good trip to the Chippy afterwards. I'm just trying to think of some crazy ones. We were playing also pretty early on a show in Leicester, I think it was, in England at the university, and to make our gear look more than we had, we put it up on tables with cloth and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then Frank, who was the original bass player, he had maybe a 20-foot lead from his guitar into his amp, but to the front of the stage was 40 feet. Well, for sound check, 20 feet was fine. He just stood at the back and played his bass. But when we actually went on, the roadie had forgotten to switch it to a 40 or 50 foot, so he plugged in, ran to the front, and just dragged his bass amp off the table, which took half the drum kit out with it as it went down. And that night we ended up playing in front of the stage because there were cracks in the stage floor. It was just everything just collapsed. I think we jumped off the front of the stage as it all came down, and I had to actually reset up in front and just play. So there's a bunch of stuff like that, It would make a great comedy movie.
Or a book. Have you ever thought of doing that?
Actually, my brother was going to write the book.
Yeah?
But I think he started, and then life got in the way.
Oh, yeah. I can't let you go without asking you the question you get asked by everybody on planet Earth, which is the iconic hairstyle. And I almost feel guilty for asking you because I know you get asked about this all the time. But, whenever there's anything to do with new wave or synth-based music, they either use on websites or whatever a photo of you or a drawing of that hairstyle in order to, it's become literally an icon.
Oh, yeah. Better to have an icon than nothing.
Yeah. So briefly, what was the genesis of that idea? It's a hairstyle, I know, but I have to ask.
Well, originally it was a Ziggy Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 3 inches long, all just stuck up on top and long at the back, just like David Bowie. Like I said, had influence.
Sure.
And we were doing a show, and I was looking in the mirror, looking how fabulous I was, young and fabulous.
Right.
And then Frank came up. Frank was my best buddy, and he was the original bass player. Mm-hmm. He came up behind me, and he couldn't see in the mirror, so he just put his hand on top of my head as if to say, scoot down a bit.
Right.
So I can see. But what he did was he collapsed my hair. And my manager, right at that time, was going, come on, lads, we got to get on stage. We got to go. So, me and Frank had a few words, and we walked out on stage. But, of course, all the front, the middle of my hair and the front had all collapsed down. But we did the show and everything was cool. I met a couple of girls later on who basically said, your hair looked fantastic, sticking up at the sides and all down across your face. So I kind of went, ooh, if girls like it, I'm going to do it all the time. So I turned it into a real style,
Yeah.
And the girls liked it.
Well, listen, if you get the approval of girls, what else do you need?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
all you need is your bank manager and your girl.
Right, exactly. So if somebody wanted to find out what you're up to now and what A Flock of Seagulls are doing now, where would they go online for that?
Well, the best place is, because I actually keep fairly out of the way. I'm low key. Mm-hmm. The best place is just to get on MySpace or just get on the web. There's a bunch of people put stuff up, but I did start a MySpace, meaning to update it every few days. But I didn't grow up as a computer kid, so to me it's not like. I mean, I see kids today and stuff, and the first thing they do is run to their computer and tell everybody what's going on.
Right.
But with me, it was like when I used to wake up in the morning, I'd run and pick up my guitar or plug in a keyboard and play a song. And so I didn't really grow up with that. Must tell everybody and change. Today I had cornflakes for breakfast. Tomorrow I'm having bacon. And that's what they seem to do today. The computer is the center of their world, whereas when I was basically growing up, it was grab a guitar or go watch a movie on TV or something.
Right.
It's so different. But MySpace tells you there's a lot of other sites where people update. People always complain at me, why don't you update your MySpace? And I go, oh yeah, I forgot I had it. But basically what's happening is we've been looking at and writing to do a new album for probably about 8 or 10 years, and it's just pure laziness that we haven't finished it. Because everybody gets together, and when we get together, we say, "Oh, let's go get Chinese or something." And instead of sitting down and going, "Well, let's pick 10 songs and do them," there's that. And then over the last couple of years, especially, first of all, I got divorced, which was pretty horrendous, and I didn't want to do anything. And then I opened a restaurant about 2 years ago, which was a gorgeous restaurant, but because of the way the economy was just about starting to turn down,
right.
And it lasted about a year and cost me a fortune. So there was that, which I'm just getting out of, and basically that took up all my time. Those two things for the last 2 years.
Sure.
But, the sun will shine again. So.
And A Flock of Seagulls will play out again. They'll tour again.
We'll play out, and we constantly have plans to make a new album. But these days, it's not about making an album. You can just do one song and put it on your site and make people go to your site. Hey, you want to hear a new song? Well, here it is, I haven't ever stopped writing songs. I've probably got, 200 songs that are not recorded. And I would think out of those 200, 199 of them are brilliant.
Well, you could have the Flock of Seagulls box set.
Yeah. What you need to do is you just buy a computer disc, a disk drive with them all on, and just shove it in your computer.
Right.
Because it's like, another reason I wouldn't really put a CD out or anything is, where are you going to sell it? Everywhere's closing down.
Yeah, I know.
It's all becoming internet-based, so... and to tell you the truth, the idea of printing out 10,000 CDs thinking you're going to sell them, you'll end up with 9,000 of them in your garage,
Right.
So I kind of, in another way, have been waiting for the big changeover, between record companies and being able to do it yourself. It used to be that record companies would support you and made sure that you looked good and had money to get famous. And now record companies, unless you're already famous, they don't care. I think if a record company came to us and said, let's make an album and we'll spend a bunch of money promoting it, I think it could sell a couple of million. But, people don't want to take the chance with that kind of money anymore. And until the Internet becomes so vastly open that, and I don't know how it's going to happen, but that music gets brought to you in a different way, rather than just being on someone's website and you wait for your friend to go, hey, check this out,
Right.
I don't think internet promotion has quite got into gear yet. I think the internet is still in stage 1. I think when it reaches stage 3, it'll take over the whole world, and you'll have something on your wrist that tells you that, whatever you need to know.
Right. And you know what? They also need to work out a way for people to actually get paid.
Yeah, and that's that's another thing, It's like you could spend 2 years working on an album or a piece of software or something like that, and then some dumb kid who wakes up in the morning and goes, hey, I like that album, I'm just going to steal it.
Right.
And then the whole thing is all his friends steal it, and by stealing, somebody needs to educate them. When you steal something, you kill the person or the company or whatever that provided you with the very thing that you liked.
And plus, what is it really? $1 a song? Like it's all that. It's not even that much money.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, I think last time I looked, you could get an album on iTunes or something for $6.
Right.
And $6 is the price of a burger.
Yeah.
So you want your favorite band to survive, give them their $6.
Right. Thanks again, and good luck, and continue on with the Flock of Seagulls. And hopefully you're going to come around our area at some point.
Hopefully we'll be everywhere at some point.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Mike.
All right.
Bye-bye.